The International Monetary Fund gave an appraisal of Nigeria's economy after the conclusion of the Article 4 consultation mission they held in Nigeria with Nigerian officials. In a statement they released, they said that despite the fact that the government has made important steps, the benefits are yet to reach many Nigerians. According to them, the gains have yet to benefit all Nigerians as poverty and food insecurity remain high. This is a damning verdict that should shake the government back to reality instead of using propaganda to project to Nigerians that all is well, but the reality continues to stare everyone in the face. Everyone goes to the same market, everyone experiences the massive inflation despite all the manipulation of figures by the government to make the figures look good. No, the reality is we are still very far away from where this government met Nigeria. And the IMF can never absolve themselves from what is happening in Nigeria today. It didn't start today. They've been pushing different administrations in Nigeria to remove petrol subsidy, to increase this, increase tax, increase that. Now, under this administration, they've swallowed all their advice hook, line and sinker. This is why Nigerians are suffering. As you can see here, in 2019, under a different leadership of IMF, they pushed Muhammadu Buhari to remove petrol subsidy, but he ignored them, like other presidents before him, because all of them understood the implication of removing petroleum subsidy, especially when electricity supply is not reliable. How else are manufacturers expected to thrive if the government can't provide electricity supply that is reliable, and the manufacturers are expected to fall back on fuel to power their production? And that fuel that is supposed to power their production, the government that can't provide electricity now goes on to increase the price of petrol. That's intentionally shutting down the Nigerian economy. It's a guarantee that production will go down seriously. And we can see it today, many multinationals already left Nigeria. And where do these multinationals come from? From Western Europe, from America. And IMF never gives this advice to these Western countries. They never tell them to increase this, increase that, remove this, remove that. No, all of them subsidize one thing or the other because they understand the implication. Take Germany for instance, their companies, their people never pay the correct price for electricity. They understand that if they force them to pay the full price for electricity, production costs will increase in their country. And remember, Germany used to be #1 exporter in the world before China displaced them. That's not up to a decade ago. So you can understand how far their country depends on export, which of course is driven by massive production. What about France? Their people never pay the full price of energy. The rest is subsidized by the government. Theirs is even understandable because they produce electricity cheaply, more than Germany. They still have many nuclear power plants running, unlike in Germany where they closed down nearly all of them. It is the same thing all over Europe. They go to great lengths to protect their industry, their people and workers. Take for instance what is happening right now in the UK. The UK Parliament quickly passed a law to enable them save British Steel. Despite the fact that this company is under the management and ownership of a Chinese company, having been sold to an Indian before, the Chinese bought it over, but they still passed a law to enable the government save the industry, save the remaining British steel company in the UK. So you can imagine how far they go to protect their own, protect workers, protect their economy. Only in Africa you see them implementing crazy policies that damage their economies beyond repair. How can anyone think that it is best in a country like Nigeria where they don't produce enough electricity to go around all the industrial areas in the country? But the government's first priority was to increase the tariff. Yes, mind you, this was after they increased the price of petrol by more than 500%. So how does this work? What's the mentality behind this if not to intentionally punish Nigerians and reduce their purchasing power? Companies that do not have access to electricity, they can't generate enough that they need. When they generate, they have to buy petrol to do that, and you increase the price of petrol by more than 500%. Also, the electricity they can rely on when it is available. Most of these factories, they have special arrangements with the power generating company They supply them maybe 4 hours stretch or maybe 3 hours. A factory that is trying to survive might say, okay, let's follow this arrangement. Let's always power the equipment when there is electricity supply. So if they have to rely on that, you now turn around and increase the tariff of that electricity. What message are you sending? You are simply indirectly saying that you don't want production to happen in this country. Yes, all the alternatives, you increase the price. Where else are they going to fall back on? Nowhere. So you can see the result. Factories have shutting down, sacking workers, massive unemployment, plunging more people into poverty. That's exactly what the IMF pointed out. Forget all the narratives. All they say, this one is working, that one is working. The reality stares everyone in the face. Once you live in that country, you must be experiencing one form of inflation or the other. Yes. And to tell you that this is not a conspiracy theory, why do all these companies, all the foreign financial institutions, IMF, World Bank and the rest, why don't they ever tell these African governments point blank that any reform they want to embark on should start with them? That they should start by reducing the cost of governance. Why don't they ever give them such advice? It is simply because they want them to waste the money. They want them to run the country aground. They don't want you to develop. They don't want you to ever grow to a level that you challenge them. They don't want that. They want to keep you where you are or even in more poverty, worse than you are right now. How can conditions for giving someone a loan always be to increase the cost of living for the people? They never tell them, start by reducing the cost of governance. Why do you need more than 15 ministers? Yes, and look at their performance. It's not as if they are competent. They are all there wasting Esther code, wasting billions of naira in security votes. There's no minister that doesn't move around with at least 5-car convoy. So imagine going to work every day and coming back from work, going out to lunch, how much money they waste on fuel every day. Calculate that for more than 50 ministers in Tinubu's federal cabinet. So you will see all these are intentional. Their intention is to punish and keep Nigerians in poverty. Not just Nigerians, Africans. They don't want you to be like them, to enjoy the good things of life, like Europeans, like Americans, like Asians. They want Africa to continue being what Africa should be. That's according to them. A place where they come to exploit raw materials. These people that have these raw materials are not expected to enjoy the good things of life. Also, when you look at the type of loans they give Nigerian government, you will see that these loans are not meant to be used to develop Nigeria. Yes, let's listen to Senator Ndume's explanation.
It's not even in the borrowing. It's what you borrow for. Let me give you quickly a rundown of what I checked. You see, in June 2023, $500 million was borrowed for women program to scale up what they call NPWPLC. Can you see that? Can Nigerians see it? Where are the women? Then on June 23rd, the same day, $800 million was borrowed to cushion the impact of high petrol prices after fuel subsidy removal. How? Where? Then on September 23rd, 2003, under the same government, $700 million was borrowed again for Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment. Then, on December 23rd, the same thing, $750 million borrowed through what they call renewable energy scale-up. Then June 2024, $1.5 billion was borrowed to support Nigeria's reform for economic stabilization to enable transformation.
That one sounds very spurious, I have to be honest.
Okay, you see? Then in June 24th, $750 million again was borrowed for immediate financial and technical support for efforts to stabilize economy and to scale up support to the poor and most economically at risk. When you total these borrowings, the figure I got here is about $9.45 billion, which translates to about 13 trillion. And as I said, I mentioned most of them. These are items that are either intangible, those items are not, has nothing to do with infrastructure.